This is my art journal Fragments. It began life as a child's cardboard book, and on each page I used sandpaper to sand off the glossy coating of the printing process so that the glue and gesso would have something to grip onto. I then covered each page with collage papers, text papers and gel medium, and then usually gesso. So the cover, I found a box of old slides up in the bedroom wardrobe that my husband had been carting around with us for 30 years, which had bad ones written on it. So I said, "Can I have these?" And he said, "Oh, I guess." So these are his out of focus slides, and I've cut some of them out and put my own sketches in. These pages are quite large, perhaps 10 by 10, so they lent themselves more to single pages than a double page spread. Ink with a paintbrush, stamps, water-soluble crayon background with gouache and charcoal. Gouache is an opaque watercolour. I love doing pages that are like a phrase or a single word, and that's all that's written on the page. This is a Latin phrase, so the fine liner is actually the same phrase but in English. I began with a layer of walnut ink, then fine liner, then gouache, then Derwent Inktense, water-soluble pencils, and then white gouache for the final layer. Watercolours and walnut ink, acrylic paint, charcoal, pencil, white gouache, and then outline the letters with a Sharpie marker. Watercolour background, a stamp repeated, and gouache for the lettering with a paintbrush. Acrylic paint, this is gel medium on a stamp. It's actually quite textured, so just take a stamp and coat it with gel medium with a paintbrush and put it on your page and let it dry. Just remember to wash your stamp thoroughly immediately after doing so, and because it dries clear, it just gives you a lovely raised texture, so it works best for background stamps, something that it doesn't matter if there's not a lot of detail. To help integrate the page, I've used the same stamps that I used in the gel medium with stamp pad ink. Fine liner, white gouache with a paintbrush, charcoal, ink with a paintbrush, the lettering, then watercolour, and this is an impasto for watercolour, acrylic paint through a stencil, and fine liner. This page started because I tipped the cream paint over on the table and had to slop it onto something quick. So it's acrylic paint and ink, once again with a paintbrush. Lots of gesso on this page, Derwent Graphy tints, and the brighter colours are the Derwent ink tints and computer text. So medium size marker underneath, then watercolour gesso through a stencil, fine liner, ink with a paintbrush. Masking using alphabet letter masks and layers of watercolour with a white coloured pencil. This is acrylic paint with charcoal and white Conte pencil. This is a stock photo. I do try to take all my own photos, but sometimes you don't have the right image. So this one's from 123rtf.com. Brunswick watercolour pencils, Derwent Graphy tints and charcoal. Oh, the photo sends a matte medium transfer, hence the fact that I forgot that that would be see-through, and of course still had the pencil line for the floor line going through her legs. Stock photo once again, Derwent ink tints, die cuts, and that's fragments of my life from the last 2 months.